Good evening. It's Monday, February the 8th, and I would like to do a report on Indiana child trafficking. My name is Tori Smith, and I became aware of the MyLab child trafficking operation as a witness. And this really began for me a number of years ago. This is the 50th month that I've been dealing with what I call the dark side, whether you call them the Nazis, the Illuminati, the New World Order, whatever. And I've witnessed some pretty horrible things, which I try not to carry them around in my mind. But just for tonight, and because of my time limitations, I would like to talk specifically about the Republican-owned child trafficking operation in Indianapolis, Indiana. And this child trafficking operation that I'm always speaking of is located on the southwest Indianapolis side at the airport, in the business district of the airport. And so far, over 12,000 children have been gang raped and then murdered over the past 20 years. And it was located downtown, not far from the Circle, but then it was relocated when the new airport was built. Richard Lugar was the head of operations, and he has raped about 150 children, and he's murdered 14 of them. And he was in charge of this for a long time, and then he became a senator. He's been a fixture in Indiana for a long time, unfortunately for us. And to get a part of this, men must pledge an oath to Satan and Lucifer and participate in this operation. And if they rape and murder children, they are promised positions of high power and lots of money. And most of their money is kept in offshore bank accounts. A lot of money is transferred from the American taxpayer into the pockets of politicians. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. The public don't know about it. That's why the United States is $74 quadrillion in debt. Mitch Daniels was the next up main man to participate, and at this time he has raped a total of 117 children and murdered 19 of them in these Luciferian human sacrifices. He has witnessed 157 children be murdered by the Bush family and other national figures. Because it's not all Indiana people, it's also, other military, national military. Current Governor Mike Pence has raped 146 children and murdered 25 in these Luciferian human sacrifices. It was a 25th child just a couple days ago on Friday night. Indiana Attorney General Greg Zeller has participated in this well. He joined soon after he was installed as Attorney General, but he prefers to watch, and he's raped 11 children so far. He hasn't yet to murder. Both Indiana senators, current senators Dan Coate and Joe Donnelly, are members, and they have both raped and murdered children. And there are 36 state senators now that are involved, and they have raped nearly 900 children total and killed 38 children. 14 Indiana state representatives have also been members, and like the others, they both rape girls and boys. My local state representative is named Christopher Judy, and he was asked to join just recently, and he said no. And however, the state senator from Columbia City, who represents my district, his name is Jim Banks, he was asked a few days ago to join, and he said yes. And I'm not really surprised, because his wife has a made very public statements about how she feels about these men who rape and murder children, giving them the authority to grant morality issues to all of us, while publicly condemning those of us who are devoted to God, devoted to the light, and devoted to ending child trafficking. And both of them are dark entities. She doesn't have any sacred light at all. And the major protection for this comes from the Indiana State Police, and they've been involved ever since the operation began. A total of 31 state troopers and other titles from the state police have raped children. And currently there are 14 state troopers that rape children, and a group of 7 of them have murdered a total of 30 children. They've done this not just in their 2 MyLabs, but also in 4 other locations, a total of 6 locations. And I don't like these men at all. I was raped by all 7 of them, and temporally, and which I have to explain another time. And the Indianapolis Municipal Police Department has also been members since it began. Currently, 46 officers are involved and have raped a total of 143 children, and they've killed 2. 63 officers have been involved total and have raped 214 children amongst them and have killed 6. So the Indianapolis Police Department has murdered a total of 6 children, raped 214. And 37 other police officers have been members, but currently there are only 7 involved. And there are also 36 Indiana National Guardsmen who participate in raping both boys and girls, but they have yet to kill anyone. 12 Indiana CEOs have been long-standing members and have raped a total of 318 children and murdered 72 of them. 37 other corporate executives from Indiana companies have raped a total of 416 children and murdered 94 of them. And there are 7 mayors of Indiana towns that are also a part of this. And much to my surprise, I was told there are currently 317 Indiana law enforcement officers working on collecting evidence and doing what they can to close down this operation. And they will be making the arrests of these, these politicians and other police officers and executives that are involved. And because last weekend I had done a report on what had happened Friday night, and that was when Mike Pence had murdered his 25th child, and then the 3 police officers had murdered 3 more children. And I don't have that up with me right now. But and there's also a lot of other people. Nationally, the Bush family owns this. Luckily for us, 19 members of the Bush family have been arrested. And one of the dudes that I had been, there's a group that I have been fighting for years, and they're not from here. And they're really horrible, really horrible. And he went down to Texas, and he freaked out. He said, "I did not come here to speak to the clone of George Bush." And that stabbed, they didn't even know. They didn't even know the difference. And then not long after that, he came into my home again. And he wanted to know where George Bush was. And I just laughed. I was like, he was arrested, dude, a long time ago. And I think it was December. He was arrested, and he was currently in Aaron. Well, that didn't make him too happy. And it's funny how a lot of people, well, I didn't always recognize the clones either. But thank you. I want to send a special prayer of love to all these 317 law enforcement officers who are of the light and are doing what they can to protect these children. And hopefully this will end soon. Today nationally there was only 12 children killed, which is a record low number lately. And I thank you, and God bless your hearts. Have a good night.